The box of shoes sat in my lap, wrapped in cheap brown paper but still looking like gold to me. They weren't fancy, just a sturdy pair of sneakers my boy had been begging for. He was 9, and his old shoes had holes in the soles so wide that when it rained, his socks came back soaked. Every day, he looked at other kids on the playground with new shoes and asked me quietly, "Mom, when will I have some like theirs?" So I worked double shifts. I skipped meals. I hid every spare dollar in a jar in the cupboard behind old cans. Finally, after months, I had enough to buy them. Seeing his face light up that morning, lacing them on, bouncing around the kitchen like he had springs in his feet, it made every sacrifice worth it. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. But my parents didn't see it that way. Dad's eyes narrowed the moment he noticed. Where'd those come from? I hesitated, already sensing the storm. I bought them. He needed new ones. You bought them? His voice rose like a whip. With what money? You don't have money unless it comes from us. Mom came in, wiping her hands on a dish towel, her lips already curling. She spent the money on that child instead of giving it for Amanda's honeymoon fund. Can you believe the selfishness? Amanda, my sister, walked in at just the right moment, her manicured nails glittering as she waved her phone around. Wait. So you're telling me you blew cash on sneakers for him instead of helping me go to Santorini? God, Dad, she's hopeless. Before I could explain, Dad's hand cracked across my face. My head snapped sideways, the sting burning hot. You ungrateful leech, he shouted. Everything you have is because of this family, and this is how you repay us? He's just a kid, I whispered, my voice shaking, shielding my son behind me. Not our kid, Mom spat. That brat drains you dry and gives us nothing. At least Amanda brings pride to this family. Amanda leaned against the counter, smirking. Honestly, Dad, make her pay double for this. She clearly doesn't understand priorities. My honeymoon is once in a lifetime. His shoes, they'll be in the trash in a year. Dad's fist slammed against the table, rattling the dishes. Take them off him, now! My son froze, clutching the laces like they were his lifeline. Tears filled his eyes, but he didn't move. Dad's face darkened. I said take them off. He lunged forward, grabbing my arm, dragging me to the floor. His fists rained down, each word punctuated with another blow. You, selfish disgrace. Mom's voice rang above the chaos. Contribute to your sister's honeymoon fund, not that brat. Amanda laughed from the corner, her phone up like she might be recording. Look at her. Pathetic. All this over a pair of cheap sneakers. Imagine being this useless. I curled around my boy, feeling his little hands clutching at me, shaking, sobbing. Every punch from Dad landed in my bones, but every laugh from Amanda landed deeper. When it was over, I lay on the kitchen floor, cheeks swollen, ribs aching, while Dad towered over me, panting. Mom sneered, "Next time, maybe you'll think before wasting money on trash." Amanda leaned down, her perfume stinging my nose. "Better learn, sis. Your son will never be worth as much as my memories." Their laughter followed them as they left the room, leaving me broken on the linoleum with my boy clinging to me, whispering, "I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't mean to cause this." I hugged him tighter, blood on my lips, tears in my eyes. And in that moment, humiliation transformed into something harder, sharper. They thought they'd beaten me down again. But this time, I wasn't planning to crawl back. This time, I swore they would choke on the very things they loved most. I didn't leave the house that night. I sat on the floor of the kitchen until the clock hit 3 a.m., my boy asleep on my lap, his cheek pressed to my chest as if he thought I'd vanish if he let go. Every breath I took was ragged, every movement pulled at my bruises. My face was so swollen I couldn't open one eye, but none of the pain matched the fire boiling in my chest. In the morning, Amanda strutted into the kitchen, sipping her iced latte as though the night before had been nothing more than an amusing episode. She wrinkled her nose at me. God, you look hideous. I hope you're not planning to show up in photos at my honeymoon send-off." Mom joined her, packing Amanda's bags, humming. "She won't. Don't worry. She'll be too busy working to cover what she owes. Right, dear?" She looked at me with that sneer that had haunted me since childhood. Dad walked in, stretching, not a single hint of guilt in his expression. "Where's the cash?" he barked. I swallowed. "What cash?" "The refund from those shoes. You're going to return them and give Amanda the money. Santorini doesn't wait." My son's face paled. His hands shot to his sneakers like they were a part of him. "Please," he whispered, "don't take them." Dad's boot slammed down on the table so hard the salt shaker toppled over. "Do it, or I'll do it for you." Amanda smirked. "Honestly, Dad, just rip them off him. Teach him early that some kids matter and some don't." The words tore into me deeper than any fist. I rose slowly, shaking, and stood between them and my boy. "No, these are his." Dad's eyes flared, and the next second his fist collided with my stomach. I doubled over, gasping. He grabbed my hair, yanking me upright again. "You don't get to say no in this house." Mom picked up the broom from the corner and shoved it toward him. "Beat the lesson in. Maybe this time it'll stick." Amanda laughed, snapping a photo on her phone. "This is too good. Maybe I'll show my friends. Look at my loser sister who doesn't know her place." The blows came faster this time. My ribs screamed, my knees buckled, but I forced myself to stay standing, shielding my boy. He sobbed, begging, "Stop! Please stop hurting her!" His voice cracked, but no one cared. Finally, Dad shoved me down, panting, sweat glistening on his forehead. "You'll do as you're told. By tonight, I want that money in Amanda's hand. Or else." Mom crouched next to me, her voice low and venomous. "You should thank us for teaching you this lesson. If not for us, you'd never know your place." Amanda added the final cut, leaning down so close her diamond bracelet glinted in my swollen eye. "You'll never win, sis. You'll always be the shadow, while I'm the one they love." They left me crumpled again, but this time, the rage wasn't just simmering. It was roaring. That afternoon, I went to work with bruises hidden under long sleeves, my body aching with every step. But instead of collapsing, I started watching, listening, taking notes, not about their reputation, not about exposing them. That was too easy. They thrived on pretending in public. I thought about what they loved. Not money alone, not their fake pride. What they truly couldn't live without was control. They breathed it. They fed on it. Every time they broke me, it was their power that satisfied them. And power, I realized, can be stolen in silence. So I began. Quietly, methodically. At night, while they slept, I started locking away small things they depended on. Dad's tools he raged about every morning. Mom's jewelry she counted like prayer beads. Amanda's makeup kits she flaunted online. I didn't sell them, didn't destroy them. I just hid them, piece by piece, in places they'd never think to look. By the end of the week, Dad roared through the house, veins bulging. "Who touched my things? Who moved my tools?" Mom screeched about her missing earrings. Amanda screamed when she couldn't find her designer handbag. Each time, I stood silent. "Maybe you lost them," I'd say softly. "You should be more careful." They spat in my face, cursed me, accused me, but I didn't flinch, because I was learning something important. They weren't strong without their control. They unraveled, they tore into each other with blame. One night, Amanda slapped Mom across the face. "You probably misplaced my bag. You're always so careless." Mom screamed back, throwing the blame on Dad. Dad slammed his fist into the wall, cursing them both. And in that chaos, my boy looked at me with wide, frightened eyes, and for the first time, I let him see me smirk. The bruises still burned. The humiliation still lingered. But the cracks in their foundation had started. They thought they'd beaten me for good. What they didn't know was that I was already building the day where their screams would echo like mine once had. And this time, I wouldn't shield them. The day came when Amanda stood in the living room, twirling in her new white dress, bragging about the honeymoon fund Mom and Dad promised her. She mocked me while I folded my son's laundry in the corner. Do you ever get tired of being poor and pathetic? Honestly, if I were you, I'd disappear already. Mom handed Amanda an envelope of cash, Dad grinning proudly. This is what family loyalty looks like, he said. Sacrifice from the useless one, rewards for the deserving. I looked at my boy's shoes, the same pair they had tried to strip from him. They were scuffed, but he polished them every night like they were treasure. That sight lit a fuse inside me. I wasn't going to let him grow up thinking cruelty was normal. That night, when the house grew quiet, I started executing the plan I'd been building in silence. It began with the locks. I had slowly swapped their spare keys for fakes, piece by piece, week by week. Now, when Dad stormed out at dawn to grab his tools, his shed wouldn't open. He kicked it, cursed, and when he tried the other locks, nothing. Mom discovered her jewelry box was completely sealed, a padlock she swore she never bought, locking it shut. The key was gone. Amanda's closet? Bolted. Every designer shoe, every glittering dress locked away. They erupted like firecrackers, screaming at each other. Dad accused Mom. Mom accused Amanda. Amanda accused everyone but herself. I sat at the kitchen table sipping coffee. My son drew quietly beside me. When Dad noticed, he lunged toward me, but for the first time I didn't flinch. I met his eyes and said one word. Power. He froze. You spent years teaching me pain was the only way to control someone. You slapped, beat, dragged me across the yard like an animal. But now I see it clearly. You don't have power anymore. I do. Dad's fist twitched. Mom's lips quivered. Amanda shrieked, You thief! You disgusting! Give me my things back! I leaned forward. Your things? My voice dropped low. They were never yours. They're just objects, like you treated me, and objects can vanish. That week, I escalated. The car keys disappeared, their phones locked with codes only I knew, groceries spoiled because I unplugged the fridge at night. Every corner of their world, fragile, dependent on order, collapsed. Dad started pounding walls until his knuckles split. Mom wailed, clutching her chest. Amanda screeched like a trapped bird, her polished life stripped away. But I wasn't finished. One evening, I called them into the living room. They sat, restless, like children waiting for punishment. My boy sat beside me, his little hands clutching mine. I placed a small box on the table and slid it across. Inside are the keys to everything you've lost, I said calmly. But before I decide if you deserve them, I want to hear it. Every word you've ever forced down my throat, every insult, every laugh while I bled. Say it. To each other. They blinked, confused. You first, Dad, I said. Call Mom the garbage you made me believe I was. Tell Amanda she's the only one worth loving. Prove to me you're still the monsters you were. And he did. He spat the words, eyes wild, blaming them the way he'd always blamed me. Mom shrieked back, tearing into Amanda. Amanda screamed until her voice cracked, pointing at them both, the house filled with the same venom they used to drown me. Except this time, I wasn't the victim, I was the conductor. When they finally broke, sobbing, drained, I stood. I opened the box and poured the keys onto the floor. They scrambled like rats, clawing at them, fighting each other. My son and I walked past them. I didn't look back. I didn't need to beat them with fists. I didn't need to ruin their reputation in some hall or gala. I stole their foundation, their control, their certainty, their dominance, and turned it into dust. Weeks later, when I came back for one last visit, the house was silent. Dad sat slumped in his chair, staring at the wall. Mom muttered nonsense under her breath, her jewelry still locked away. Amanda was gone. She'd left them to rot, unable to bear the chaos. And me? I walked in wearing strength like armor. My boy ran ahead of me, his shoes still polished. Dad looked up at me, eyes red, voice hoarse. Please, stop. For the first time in my life, I smiled at him, not with bitterness, with victory. You taught me what power looks like, I whispered, but you never thought I'd use it against you. and I left them there, stripped, broken, hollow, exactly what they tried to make me. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.